Hi, my name is Allison Gross, and I have the privilege of taking care of our community here at Zapier. And joining me today is Jeremy Clark from one of our great integration partners, WebMerge. How's it going, Jeremy?
Good. How are you guys?
Good, good. So before we kind of get rolling right into all the fun ways we can kind of automate data with WebMerge, I just wanted to kind of leave one quick housekeeping note. So if you scroll down the page just below where you see this video, there's a little chat box there. And my buddy Joe, who works with me at Zapier, is going to be there. He'll be able to answer any questions that you're having, or even if he can't, I know that he can get you pointed to the right person who can, or in the right direction. So as Jeremy and I are going through things here, just be sure, and if you have any questions at all, just ask Joe, and he'll be sure to get those answered for you to the best he can, or we'll make sure that we get those questions tackled for you. So how's it going, Jeremy? Everything well?
Going well.
Good.
Starting off good.
Good. I thought that we might be best off starting by just kind of chatting a little bit about WebMerge. If anyone's not familiar, or maybe there actually are some WebMerge users out there who maybe might like to hear a little bit more about just all the cool things that WebMerge can do.
Yeah. So WebMerge, kind of as a broad term, is a document generation platform. So what we do is we allow customers to set up templates and set those templates up with fields in them. They can be PDF, Word, PowerPoint, and it works a lot like MailMerge, but on the web. So you set up these templates in WebMerge, and then you can connect them up to different services using Zapier. Salesforce, Podio, Gravity Forms, Wufoo, a lot of different services that you're collecting information, and then you want to be able to automatically populate documents with that information. And then on the flip side is, once we generate those documents, we have a lot of integrations that allow you to save them in Box, Dropbox. You can get them signed with DocuSign, CudaSign, and you can do more advanced things. Like you can actually print and mail with a company called Lob, and they'll take letters, they'll print them, they'll put them in an envelope and mail them out for you. So a lot of ways that you can automate your business process and kind of automate the paperwork side of things.
Yeah, I know that paperwork, as far as business goes, is probably the most time-consuming thing out there. Anything from chasing down contracts to even small ways that you collaborate with your team or with your clients. So I imagine that for any sort of document need that you have, just about, the WebMerge probably has a solution for that.
Absolutely, yeah. Most of our customers save anywhere from 30 minutes to 2 hours on every document that we kind of automate for them. That's
awesome. And then if we throw a little automation on top of that, we can think about even saving tons and tons more time from there. So what Jeremy and I kind of came up with a couple of ideas of things we would want to share with you today on taking that automation one step further. So all the great things that you can automate within WebMerge, all those documents, anything you might need to do, and then connecting them out to your other apps via Zapier. So if anyone's not familiar with Zapier, we allow you to kind of connect all of your apps together and automate processes. So we'll go through a couple of things here today to show you how you can not only save that time with WebMerge, but save even more time by automating processes outside of your document creation, and so kind of going into and out of that. So I'm going to share my screen here, and we'll kind of kick things off and show a couple of examples. Hopefully get your mind spinning on things that you can do with WebMerge and Zapier in ways that hopefully you can save some more time. But before we do that, I thought that, Jeremy, it might be really helpful for us to kind of go through what certain things mean with WebMerge. So what we're looking at right here is everything that's kind of available for you to do as it relates to Zapier. So on the trigger side of things, so if you want something to happen in WebMerge, we can trigger off of new documents. And then probably some of the more common use cases will be sending data into WebMerge. And there's two different things that I think it'd be really helpful, Jeremy, if you kind of helped us all get a handle on. And that's the difference between a data route and a document merge. So anything you have to share on that, I think, would be really helpful.
Yeah, so the create document merge that you see there, that's the ability to send data to a specific document that you have set up in WebMerge. So that's kind of the most common use case. The data route is that's a feature in WebMerge that allows you to generate multiple documents at once. So say you have a contract that maybe has the main contract and then it's got an appendix to it, and you want to be able to generate different documents based on logic. So if they're in a certain state or if they're ordering a certain product, you can set up logic within this data route to pick and choose which documents get generated. So basically what these two different actions do is it allows you to generate a specific document or send it through to one of your data routes that then will generate multiple documents at once.
Very cool. The first thing that I think is probably worth kind of chatting through is anything related to forms. Forms are such a powerful thing. There's so many great different form apps out there that allow you to capture a ton of data. But then, harnessing that data and getting it into documents with WebMerge, I think, makes those forms even more powerful. So I would love to hear, Jeremy, if you've got some different examples or ways that you've seen, people use forms to kind of create or enhance their documents with WebMerge.
Absolutely. So forms are forms are actually where WebMerge started. We kind of focused on the form side of things first. And so this is kind of really our bread and butter. And, a lot of what we see people using WebMerge in conjunction with a lot of these popular form services are, generating order forms, generating contracts, and, if someone's collecting, information for an application, either medical, job application, they can collect all that information really easy through, an online form. Looks good on mobile devices, and they can collect all that information and automatically send that through to, a PDF document that their staff is already used to looking at, and they don't have to log into like a database and, scan through like a spreadsheet of all this data. They can just open up the PDF that's sent directly to them. It can be, as I said, saved in Box, Dropbox. Open that document up, and it just follows that business process that they've been using for years.
Awesome. So I thought it would be cool for us to kind of look at a specific example of what this might look like as it relates to Zapier and kind of connecting these two apps together. So what we're looking at here is what we at Zapier call Zap. So that's connecting one app to another. So when one thing happens in one app, an action happens in another. So in this specific example, we're looking at the really popular web form Wufoo. So let's say if you get a new entry in Wufoo, it's going to create this merge of this document in WebMerge. So very, very simple. And so anytime that new entry happens, you'll have this new document merge. And that's what this looks like here in Zapier. So if we kind of scroll through here, you can see just how simple this is to set up. And once it's set up one time, you never have to worry about it. Anytime you're gathering those new entries in Wufoo, they can automatically be sent over to this document. So there's a couple of housekeeping things as far as the automation goes. Obviously we need you to connect your account so we know, where to be looking for the Wufoo data and where to send WebMerge data. We also need to know what specific form we should be looking at. So you can select any form here from your Wufoo account, and we'll be any entry on that specific form is what's actually going to trigger the automation. And then I actually went ahead and set up a very, very simple document in WebMerge that's just looking for a name and an email address. And so when I go to click on Insert Fields here, that's actually going to bring me over all of the information from my form, and I can match up the name and the email address from that form to the document in WebMerge. And then anytime this form is filled out, those two things get passed over, and it's as simple as that. I never have to worry about it. So the form is populated, the document then subsequently gets populated, and that's that. So no doing this by hand, no worrying about missing any entries. The Zapier is going to do all of that for you and take care of that really specific thing. So you can go out and deal with all the other things you might need to deal with and let the automation kind of run in the background on its own. And I know that we looked at Wufoo here, but just as a specific example, but Zapier actually connects to, I can't even remember what the count is, but tons and tons of different formats. So don't think you're just isolated to Wufoo. If you use Typeform, Gravity Forms, JotForm, any of these other sort of form apps, you can easily connect them to WebMerge via Zapier and get those documents rolling. So easy, simple sort of first thing to kind of kick us off here. And forms are so powerful and people use them for so many different things that this one simple automation should really help save you a lot of time. And most importantly, make sure that no entry falls through the cracks and that you don't have anyone dealing with these documents and these form entries manually. Kind of similar to a form is the world of spreadsheets. And Jeremy, I'm sure that you guys over at WebMerge have seen some cool ways that people are using spreadsheets to sort of easily kind of collect data and then use that to create documents with. Absolutely.
There's a couple different use cases that we've seen with like spreadsheets and even kind of database apps. And it's really easy for a team to get in and update a spreadsheet, a row in a spreadsheet, and whether that's entering information in manually to that spreadsheet, or grabbing that information from Zapier in some other way to get that information into a spreadsheet. And so we've seen a lot of again, kind of going back to the order form. So people are saving customer information about maybe they're at a conference and they collected all this information from people that stop by their booth. They come back, they enter all that information into Google Spreadsheets, and for every row that gets entered, it gets sent over to WebMerge, and we can generate maybe like a welcome letter or some type of marketing thing that you can send out to them directly. That's kind of customized to what they're looking for. And so those are kind of some of the popular things that we've seen.
That's an awesome example too, Jeremy, because as you were talking it through, I was like, you know what, you could daisy chain Zaps together to do this. So to kind of go along with what Jeremy just said, you could actually create 2 different Zaps that would kind of help you through a specific workflow. So like he said, if there's any specific mechanism that you're populating a Google spreadsheet with, maybe it's a form, maybe it's something else, you could set up one Zap that that goes from that particular app that creates the spreadsheet row in Google Sheets. And then the second Zap, which is the one that we're looking at here, takes that new information from that sheet and then creates that document with that. So just another great way for you to kind of, put apps in a row kind of together and save you all that time. So instead of doing all that work manually, you can, have your spreadsheet populating from one app and then take that same information and use it to create this document in WebMerge. And the one thing here about all these examples that we're looking at, the setup is pretty much the same. So just like our form example, we're looking at a spreadsheet. So anytime a new spreadsheet row is created in Google Sheets, we're going to create that document merge in WebMerge. And like I said, whether it's you manually populating the spreadsheet or another app doing that for you via Zapier, either way, anytime that new sheet row is created, that's going to trigger this particular automation. So like I said, the setup is virtually the same from all those form apps as it would be for Google Sheets. The one difference here is step 4. So we need to know which spreadsheet we should be looking at. And then we also need to know the worksheet within that spreadsheet that Zapier should be looking at to kind of trigger this data over. The key here, and there's some help information here if you want to dig into a little deeper, you need to have the spreadsheet created before you set up the automation because we need to know, Zapier needs to know the rows and the data, some sample data within the spreadsheet. So if I come down here just a little bit more to step 5, my spreadsheet has a name and an email address, and those are the 2 columns in my spreadsheet. So you'll want to, again, have all those columns set up for the data that you would want to send over to WebMerge. And then when I click on Insert Fields here, again, that's going to give me my information from the spreadsheet, and I can see that I've got all my columns coming over from the spreadsheet. So again, we're matching up columns from the spreadsheet to the document in WebMerge. So you just want to make sure that you have that spreadsheet set up already before you hop into this automation. But very, very simple. Like I said, we're just triggering off that spreadsheet, and it's going to automatically create that document over there in WebMerge. And last sort of example to kind of chat through, Jeremy, I think is CRMs. CRMs are kind of almost the hub of people's businesses these days. There's so much information within them about clients, partners, whatever that might be, and a lot of cool automations that you could do, or that would be possible, taking that data from your CRM to create documents with it.
Yeah, we've seen a huge adoption of WebMerge and kind of CRM systems. There's so many out there, and all of them integrate with WebMerge kind of through Zapier. So it's very neat to see all the different ways that people are using their CRM system with WebMerge. Whether it be automating when a deal is closed, or it's marked as won. You can automatically generate an invoice, automatically generate a contract. If it gets updated to a certain status, again, kind of the same automation of where you can set up all these different tracks so that it can generate multiple documents throughout the whole process, depending on what stage a deal is in. Or when you add a new contact, it can automatically send out some type of NDA or a welcome letter. And we've really seen a lot of cool things happening. Specifically with Podio, we've had a lot of people that are using that to create a very customized CRM. We've seen building inspection reports to where their teams are out in the field, they're taking pictures, they're uploading information, and then all that goes over to WebMerge, even the pictures, and we populate a report that kind of sends out, summarizes that entire inspection with 20 different pictures. All the information they're collecting. So it's really cool to kind of see how people are leveraging WebMerge in that way.
Yeah, I think it's definitely worth mentioning something like Podio, and this makes a great example because Podio allows you to have such a granular sort of control over the things you're doing. So it's interesting that you mentioned, there's a specific business doing a specific thing with this. But it doesn't have to be that complicated. If you're just if you use a simple CRM, meaning you're just collecting basic contact information from someone, so something more along the lines of High-Rise or Contactually or some of these CRMs that are truly just CRMs at their core, you can easily do what Jeremy just said, and that's anytime you have a new contact, send them over some sort of document. But if you wanted to get a little granular, we can look at something like Podio to set up really specific workflows. So that's what we're looking at here. And so we've got the trigger of new action. So anytime any specific thing happens in Podio, we're going to then create that document over in WebMerge. So if I skip down to step 4 here, Podio, like Jeremy said, kind of really allows you to just kind of put the pin down in one really specific spot. So you can customize really specific things with Podio. So you'll kind of drill down within your account. So the organization, the workspace you created, even the application. So Podio has different applications that you can basically build your own sort of custom CRM that you might, that fits your needs specifically. So this is kind of one of the more granular apps within Zapier to really, really build out those custom automations. So what we've got looking at here is I've got sort of all of my contacts in one specific application within Podio, and then I want to trigger off of the creation of that item. So when I skip down to step 5 here, I can match up the name and the email address. Those are the 2 fields I actually have in my document in WebMerge. I can match those up from Podio to then trigger that document. So whatever sort of specific thing you wanted to create, whether it was in Podio or another CRM, you can do that from Zapier to trigger just about any sort of document, letter, whatever you might want to. Just a really, really easy way to set up workflows on anything from the moment you sort of create a client or any other sort of customer within a CRM. So I know that we spoke about Podio. It's probably one of the more popular apps on Zapier. Salesforce, I know many of you are probably familiar with. But here's a list of all the CRMs that we work with. I know that Jeremy mentioned sales deals, so Pipedrive is a great thing for that. So if you marked a deal as one, you could trigger the app to, create that document. But there's really a CRM for just about any need that you might have. Streak is one that works inside of Gmail. Like I said, HighRise and Contactually are more of your sort of basic CRMs. So anything that you can think of really as far as collecting customer information and how you might want to sort of set up workflows around that or documents that can be created from that. Zapier is probably going to be able to help you with that. We just crossed the 500 app threshold, so there's 500 apps within Zapier that you can connect to. So the possibilities are really kind of endless as far as connecting those apps and then using them to create just about any document you might want to with WebMerge. Before we jet off here, this is our contact information at Zapier. This is me personally, so that's my email address and Twitter handle. Or you can always reach out to us anytime, contact@zapier.com. That actually goes to the entire team. And we are now just about a 24-hour support. I've got teammates in Australia and in Europe, so we're closing in on being able to help at just about any time you might need it. So anything you need at all, never hesitate to reach out. We're always happy to help in any way that we can. And Jeremy, how can folks get a hold of y'all over at WebMerge?
Yeah, kind of same thing. We have support at webmerge.me, or you can reach out on Twitter at @webmerge.
Awesome. Thanks for taking the time to kind of share some of these user stories with us today and other cool ways to use WebMerge. Is anything else you want to kind of toss out there before we head out?
No, I think we covered a lot today, and hopefully people kind of learned and kind of got their gears turned, as you said, and kind of thinking, there's really the possibilities are endless. If you've got a document out there that someone is manually typing or printing out and writing on, WebMerge can help. So kind of think through your processes, reach out to your team, see if there are any ways that you can automate that paperwork process.
You probably just made a whole lot of people very happy, I imagine.
Hope so.
I know that, documents, any sort of paperwork is the bane of people's existence, and so anything that we can do to automate that, I know will save people so much time and help make their life a little easier. So thanks to everyone for joining us today. Remember, you can reach out to us anytime, to either one of us, to have those questions answered. We're more than happy to do that. And this video will be archived on this very page that you're on now. You can even scroll down to the bottom of the page, and there's some of the automations that we were just talking about that you can use right now if you want to hop right in. So this page will always be here. You can refer back to it anytime. We hope that it's been helpful for you, and anything you might need, again, just let us know, and we'll be happy to talk through anything. So thanks to everyone for joining us. We'll talk soon.
Thank you, guys.